The old pickup truck rolled to a stop at the edge of a forgotten field, tires crunching over frostbitten gravel. A man stepped out, shoulders hunched against the Michigan wind, his boots sinking slightly into the damp earth. Behind him, his German shepherd emerged with quiet grace, ears alert, eyes scanning the tree line before locking onto his master. They stood in silence, not speaking, because words had long ago lost their power. Ahead of them wasn't a house, not even a shed, just the carcass of a yellow school bus, swallowed by ivy, ribs of rusted metal peeking through decades of neglect. To anyone else, it was trash. But for this weary veteran and his only companion, it was the last door left open in a world that had shut them out. He took a slow breath, the kind that barely fills the lungs. Inside that decaying shell, he would either disappear forever or begin again. He didn't know it yet, but the choice he was about to make would stitch his broken life back together in ways that would leave his own family breathless. If this story of resilience moves you, please like this video and subscribe. It helps us share more real tales of hope in a world that often feels too cold. And while you're here, drop a comment below. What country are you watching from? Your voice matters more than you know. Thomas Cole Dawson stood in the center of his empty apartment. All that remained was a single cardboard box on the hardwood floor and a stark white eviction notice taped to the kitchen counter. Cold, clinical, final. At 52, Cole was tall and lean, his frame hardened by years of labor, not luxury. Silver streaked his short-cropped brown hair, and deep lines carved paths across his face, each one a silent record of battles fought far from home. His hands, though steady on the surface, carried a faint tremor, a ghostly souvenir from his time overseas. At his side, Axel sat with regal stillness, his silver-gray coat catching the weak afternoon light, intelligent eyes fixed on Cole with unwavering devotion. Axel wasn't just a dog. He was the lifeline that kept Cole anchored when memories threatened to drag him under. They'd lost everything. 3 jobs, a marriage, a home. But they still had each other, and for now that was enough. Cole picked up the box, whispered, "Time to go, boy," and walked out without looking back. The drive out of Detroit felt like shedding a skin. Concrete gave way to winding country roads, then to dense forests painted in autumn's last golds and reds. Cole gripped the wheel, lost in thoughts that circled like vultures, when a sudden explosion split the air. A semi on the opposite lane blew a tire. The sound hit him like a bullet. In an instant, the quiet highway vanished. He was back in the dust-choked heat, smoke in his throat, the crackle of radio static, the weight of a rifle in his hands, the screams of men whose names he'd tried to forget. His breath came in short, panicked gasps. Sweat slicked his palms. The world tilted. But then, a wet nose pressed into his thigh, firm and insistent. Axel had laid his head across Cole's lap, his solid presence a tether to the present. Cole inhaled deeply, the scent of damp fur and old leather pulling him back. Shame flared. He'd lost so much because of moments like this, but Axel didn't judge. He just stayed. Hours later, Cole turned onto a gravel road he hadn't seen in 20 years. The old Dawson farm. Overgrown, forgotten. And there, in the center of a sea of weeds, sat the yellow school bus. Half devoured by time, windows shattered, vines curling through its skeleton like nature reclaiming a tomb. This was all he had left. Sleep didn't come that first night. It ambushed him. One moment, he was listening to crickets. The next, he was choking on sand, the sky lit by fire, the whistle of incoming cutting through the dark before the world exploded. He woke gasping, heart slamming against his ribs, drenched in cold sweat. Darkness pressed in from all sides, but then warm weight on his chest, a low, anxious whine. Axel's face was inches from his, eyes glowing in the moonlight, breath steady, grounding. Cole buried his face in the dog's thick fur, clinging to him like a man lost at sea grabbing driftwood. Axel didn't flinch. He just stayed. By dawn, exhaustion clung to Cole like a second skin. He tried to light a small fire outside the bus, hands fumbling with damp kindling, when tires crunched on gravel. His cousin Gary pulled up, window rolled down, eyes avoiding the bus, pity thick in his voice. "Got your mail," he said, holding out a small stack. Cole took it with a quiet thanks. Gary didn't get out. Didn't stay. Just reversed and left, leaving Cole alone with the weight of concern he couldn't bear. Sorting through the envelopes, Bill's junk, his breath stopped. One was thick cream paper, elegant script, Mara Dawson and David Chen. Request the honor of your presence. His ex-wife's wedding invitation. He sank onto the cold metal steps, the paper trembling in his hands. She was moving on. He was fading away. This was truly the end. But then Axel stood. Walked to the front of the bus. Scratched urgently at a rusted floor panel. Whined. Looked back at Cole with eyes that said, "Trust me." Annoyed but too weary to argue, Cole grabbed a tire iron from the truck. Kneeling in the grime, he pried at the spot Axel had chosen. Metal screamed in protest, but with a final groan, a panel lifted. Beneath it, a hollow, and inside a dented metal box. Heart-pounding, Cole opened it. Wrapped in oilcloth was a leather journal. On the inside cover, bold ink, property of Elias Dawson, his grandfather. He flipped a page. October 3, 1961. A man isn't measured by what he owns, but by what he builds with his own two hands. Another, wood speaks if you listen. Let it tell you what it wants to become. Page after page, wisdom carved in ink, about dignity, patience, creation. Tears blurred Cole's vision. He looked from the journal to the rotting bus. It wasn't a tomb. It was raw material, a story waiting for a new voice. And for the first time in years, his hands didn't shake. They itched to work. Days melted into weeks, ruled by sunrise and sweat. Cole tore out moldy seats, ripped down crumbling ceilings, ripped rust from the floor with a fury that felt like prayer. Every swing of the hammer, every scrape of sandpaper quieted the storm inside. The hypervigilance that once made every leaf a threat softened into focus. On grain, on joints, on balance. This wasn't escape. It was healing. Axel watched from the doorway, sun on his fur rising only to nudge Cole's hand when frustration mounted. One afternoon, a clean sedan pulled up. His children, Nora in nurse's scrubs, eyes tight with worry, Eli in crisp chinos, brow furrowed in calculation. "Dad, what is this?" Nora asked, stepping carefully over debris. "I'm fixing her up," Cole said, pride flickering. "Making a real home." Eli shook his head. "This won't help your VA claim," says his dispo. "They'll think you're unstable," Nora added, softer but sharper. "You missed your therapy appointment. You can't just play with this bus." Play. The word stung. They saw chaos. He felt clarity, but he said nothing. The gap between them felt wider than the feet. As they left, Axel pressed against his leg, a silent promise. "I see you." Then came Mr. Finch, a retired mechanic from down the road, white-haired hands stained with decades of grease. He didn't offer pity. He walked around the bus, tapped the frame, studied Cole's work. "Good bones," he declared. "Built to last." He saw the project, not the pain. Later he returned with an engine hoist. "Might make your life easier," he said simply. No lecture, just help. That respect lit a fire in Cole. He worked harder. Restored a cabinet from the farmhouse, only one drawer stuck. Frustration rose, the old tightness in his chest returning. But Axel nudged the back panel, whining insistently. Cole moved the cabinet, found a hidden seam, pried it open. Inside, a treasure. Nora's baby bracelet, Eli's childhood drawing labeled "My Hero Dad," a faded photo of them at the lake. These weren't just memories. They were proof he'd once been loved, that he'd mattered. He built a wall for them. Crafted frames, polished wood, soft light. This bus wasn't just shelter. It was a sanctuary for the father he used to be, and the man he was becoming. He sent simple invitations. "The bus is a home now. Join me for dinner Saturday." Snow fell the night they came. Headlights cut through the flakes, and three figures stepped out. Nora, Eli, and Eli's wife, Lena. They stopped dead. The bus was no longer yellow rust. It was forest green, warm light glowing from new windows, smoke curling from a proper chimney. "Dad, it's beautiful," Nora whispered. Inside, they stood in stunned silence. Warm wood, clever storage, a wood stove humming. Then they saw the memory wall. Nora touched her childhood drawing, tears falling. "We were so wrong," she sobbed. "We thought you were giving up, but you were fighting." Eli nodded, voice thick. "You weren't hiding. You were healing." In that moment, years of distance dissolved. They hugged, tight, real, full of years of missed love. Axel curled at their feet as if sealing the circle. Later, over roasted chicken and shared laughter, plans spilled out. road trips to the Great Lakes, summer drives west. Cole watched them heartful. The compass inside him spinning wildly for so long it finally settled. True healing, he realized, doesn't always come from waiting for help. Sometimes it comes from building it yourself. With sawdust under your nails, a loyal dog at your side, and the courage to turn wreckage into refuge. If Cole and Axel's journey touched your heart, please like this video and subscribe. It helps us bring more stories of quiet courage to light. And in the comments below, tell us, what country are you watching from? Your words could be the spark that helps someone else believe in second chances.